It's impossible to ignore the strength of feeling. It's a pain that goes back centuries. But much of the hurt is recent.
And we've stopped watching all forms of black trauma because what it does is it keeps all of us feeling small, worthless. And it creates a bit of a cycle of every time you watch it, you feel like another black person is flippantly can be discarded. You could be flippantly discarded by anyone, and it's okay.
Obviously, racism, unconscious bias, all the things that people are dealing with on a daily basis, we adapt to that. In some ways, we kind of get used to that. And as that now is starting to shift, as people are becoming more conscious, as people are kind of realizing that there are some very real issues that need to be addressed, it can be re-traumatizing.
Looking back can be painful.
You get triggered so easily and you don't realize it from just you'll watch something that's happened or you'll hear someone talk and it will remind you of your own past experiences, or it will reopen wounds, I found, and it will also make me discover wounds that I didn't even know were there.
In the last sort of 8 weeks, I've been inundated to the point where it's unmanageable. So I've joined Nextdoor Neighbours, which is an app where I can give 15 minutes free therapy just to manage and contain people all around us, whether it's the elderly, young people, people with families who just don't know what to do and what the next step is, if that makes sense.
Me personally, I feel angry inside and I feel emotional as well, because when I look at the world, look at me, this is a mix, you understand? I respect every race, you understand? And I feel like the world needs to grow something called love,
The same way we said, the Me Too movement said to men, believe women, I would say believe black people. We do not sit there and invent this stuff.
As some general advice as to how people can look after themselves, what would you say?
I always say that self-care is healthcare. We have to start with that. Just taking time, sometimes just with your breath. I find writing in a journal really, really helpful. So some of those kind of challenging thoughts that you may have, painful thoughts, just take them out, put them down on paper.
For myself, I think it's really important to feel my emotions and express them and talk about it. And I think one of the consequences of this is that people of colour are having more of a voice. And that's the issue sometimes. If something happens to you and you can't be heard and you can't tell people about it and it's not seen and it's not recognised, that's when the mental health damage happens. And so I actually think we're taking steps forward for everyone's mental health to become better because of this.
Where I am now, I'm looking for optimism, and the most optimistic thing that has happened is watching the actual footage of the protests and seeing how diverse those protests were. And it's really like a marker as it isn't just a black concern anymore,